dot is shown there. Also, we have the main entry for the new jail tower shown down there along Elm Street. And then to the left, we're showing a landscape buffer that kind of separates the jail tower from Broadway Avenue. We looked at this as being fairly important as you come into downtown from the south, or as you visit, this street or this facility from downtown. It's going to set back just a little bit from Broadway. This gives us the opportunity to put in some landscaping, maybe soften that edge of the facility, and maybe make it blend nicely with the downtown area. Up on the north side, the upper side of the jail tower there, we have a drive-through area. We're looking at closing Spring Avenue in this solution, and we have a small turnaround shown there. However, we're also going to maintain a drive-through along the north side of the existing jail tower for fire trucks to be able to exit back out onto Broadway, since they wouldn't be able to turn around in that tight radius that we have room there for. Over on the right off Fannin Avenue is the service entrance for the facility. This is where food service trucks would back in and unload on the new dock that we have on the east side of the existing jail. And then also commodities deliveries would go to the very lowest level of the new low-risk housing wing. The existing fire station will stay. We have a drawing, it didn't get included in this, but that shows a future potential that the county might want to start thinking about is for a future addition, another wing on this jail. That would be the prime location for it right there. So, as you begin to plan for the future, that may be a property and a building that you want to purchase, and then that could be a real easy additional wing onto this jail facility for, untold future years. Okay. Larry?
Thank you, Kurt. The concept design really starts with the detail of the various housing areas. As Kurt has mentioned, there's a number of different classification types in the expansion. And we'll start with the dormitory, which is the lowest risk in the facility. Centered, as you'll see, all of these pods on a day room. The intent is that food and programs are brought to the inmates to limit the inmate movement. The inmates would spend their day in the day room, and then there is an adjacent area where bunks are for sleeping areas, toilet facilities, multi-purpose room for a number of purposes, including video visitation. So inmates are restricted with as much services coming to them as possible, limiting their movement for safety reasons. There is also an outdoor recreation area that provides some fresh air as well as some natural light through a screened area that would be a solid wall for the first, say, 8 feet, and then above it for 2 stories would be open to the sky with security screening, of course. So these modules exist together and are grouped, and we'll look in a few more slides at how they might be arranged. Next in the security lineup is a medium security pod, which again, everything is centered on the day room. In this case, we have multi-occupant cells. We're showing 6 inmates per cell, and in a 2-story arrangement, they would be stacked 2 levels here with a balcony or a mezzanine around that side. Again, a multi-purpose room, toilets and showers, washer and dryer for personal items, and then an outdoor recreation area. Repeating again, the concept is that all the services are brought to the inmates here. This, as well as in the previous one, you'll see a little desk in the middle that's for the officer to be posted. Within the day space, this is called a direct supervision model, in which the officers are stationed and have very easy access to knowing what's going on within that day room. This has a capacity of 48 inmates, as well as the previous design.
Larry, you might also point out the video visitation.
Yes, in the multi-purpose room, there will be video visitation booths. Right now they're shown here, but they'll be moved on that side, and a beverage station at that location. Here we have the actual location of the beverages and the video visitation. In this medium-high pod, essentially the same type of layout, but we have double occupancy cells instead. And the reason we're looking at trying to keep the shapes here is that because in a jail tower, You need to be able to stack these various units for the most efficiency. In this case, all services are brought to the inmates, limiting their movement. Up in the realm of higher security is the maximum security pod, which has a lower number of inmates. There are 24 inmates, and this is in an indirect supervision model in which the officer is stationed in a control booth with observation of the inmates. They have more limited movement. More time is spent in their cells due to security purposes, and there are showers, video visitation, multi-purpose room, outdoor recreation as well. Next is the separation pod. These are for inmates who have particularly behavioral issues. They spend even more time in their cells because they have in their cell then a shower and desk, and their time is limited outside of that area. These are in smaller occupancy numbers, and this is divided with a wall separating inmates so there's no intermittent contact for various security reasons. How these are arranged, let's start with the tower. The housing pods that you looked at are on the upper floors. This would be the lowest floor of the tower with Elm Street on the bottom here, Broadway Avenue on the left. As Kurt has mentioned some about the circulation in the building, you'll see the vehicle sally port with the entry for cars and buses, in which from that vehicle sally port, inmates are brought in by the police through the booking area, which is kind of in the center of the hub of the activity on this floor, with adjacent areas for inmate property and classification, magistrate, courtroom, non-contact and contact visitation booths for public and visitor and attorneys. The public lobby is coming in off of Elm Street, but the public visitation would be much less than in some more traditional jails where the public will come in and visit one-on-one. We're proposing that video visitation, the technology is used where inmates and visitors can communicate via closed-circuit cameras and telephones from remote locations. So it limits the need for lots of visitors coming into this secure facility. The video visitation then could occur anywhere within the city in less secure environment because it's strictly done over cables. Jail administration also has a relationship to public lobby as visitors come to have business in that area. Another part of this floor is a discharge. As inmates go through the system and they are ready to be discharged, they would go through the process in a kind of a reverse manner in terms of getting their inmate property and they're discharged outside the building. The existing jail is to the right of this slide, and it would be connected to this first floor with accommodation for ramping. As Kurt had mentioned, there is a lot of opportunity because the building is pulled back to develop a plaza with some nice landscaping, and perhaps look at the entry, how that should read for the public, and enough waiting area to keep folks inside. Next would be the second level. This has two of the pods that I talked about earlier, the medium security housing. It has an expansion space for additional beds in this gray color. And then another important function in the facility is medical care in the infirmary. Most of the treatment rooms would be in this area, x-ray, dental, first aid, and so forth. And then there are beds in this portion of it for inmates who need more specialized care, not only just in single cells, but in some dormitory settings for, say, inmates who might have diabetes or other health issues, as well as those who need to be isolated with cases such as TB. Going up the tower and looking at the circulation is in purple, a main corridor, a nice 10-foot wide corridor. Most of the inmates would circulate via secure elevators at this end with fire stair, and then there's two fire stairs at the north and south sides with a staff elevator. Tower level 3, again, you'll see why the importance of stacking these pods. There are 4 medium housing pods, and there are 2 separation housing pods filling out this floor. Tower level 4 is medium high housing on this level, and then maximum housing. And again, very simple circulation.